Hi everyone, today I'm going to walk you through my annual credit card routine, the process that I take at the beginning of each year to make sure that all my credit cards are well maintained and how I decide which credit cards need to be closed, stay open, get a credit limit increase, or make sure that I am maximizing my credit cards to the fullest potential while I'm on a debt-free journey. If this is something that you're interested in, please keep watching.
See, baby, I'm debt free. Me and my family aligned to live abundantly. Just take it from me. That's how we do it. Budgets of freedom.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Budget to Freedom, where I discuss all things related to personal finance, whether that is cash stuffing, budgeting, savings, just all around things related to financial freedom, all while documenting my personal debt-free journey with the goal to become 100% debt-free, quit my corporate job to live a life more aligned with my God-given purpose, and just live a life more on my terms. If this is something that you're interested in, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So today I will be walking you through exactly what I do at the top of each year. First thing that I do is I'm going to review all my credit cards in my credit card tracker, right? I am working out of my The Wealth Foundation budget planner. This is my credit card tracker where you put your credit card, credit limit, the balance, the APR, the annual fee date, and if there are any perks or rewards associated with a specific credit card. I am on a debt free journey, so I am not currently spending or accumulating any more debt on my credit cards. I'm a cash spender. So I do have a total of 8 credit cards. My goal is to reduce that down to 3 or 4 credit cards, just have some major credit cards for when I'm traveling or have to rent a car or things like that. I do want to still make sure that I have a few credit cards and also keeping my highest credit limit credit cards to make sure that it reflects in a positive way on my credit score and that it is helping improve my credit score. So after I go through all my credit cards, this really gives me a clear picture on which credit cards are pulling their weight and which ones might not be worth keeping anymore. And it helps me strategize for my credit card activity template. So the first thing that I do is I want to make sure that the credit cards that I do want to keep open, that they have some recent activity, because you can get penalized for not having recent activity. A lot of credit card companies will either reduce your credit limit drastically or close out the account. So every 6 months, I make sure that I have activity on my credit cards that I want to keep. So this is the my credit card activity tracker. The first credit card that I want to make sure that I put some activity on for this year is going to be my Home Depot card. All right. Now, the reason for this is because this is my highest credit limit card. It is $30,000, and this is what I do every year to make sure that I keep increasing that credit limit. And what I do, since I don't need anything from Home Depot, I would typically stock up on like trash bags, cleaning supplies, washing detergent, and then put it on my credit card and then pay it off at the end of the month. Since I am on a no spend January, I am not able to do that this month, but the first week in February, I'm going to put a reminder on my calendar to make sure that I make a purchase. And the purchase will probably be $150, $200, just something that I have some type of activity. Then the next purchase date, once I make in February, won't be until July or June of this year. Once that balance is paid off, I go ahead and check that it's paid off. Right. The second credit card that I will be putting some activity on is my Care credit card. Now, these are credit cards that I have had for 10 plus years. I got them once I was in the process of trying to improve my credit, and these were some credit cards that I was able to get approved for at that time, and then just continuously request credit limit increases, right? So for Care Credit, I had got this some years ago when I needed to get my wisdom teeth pulled, and I did was not in the financial situation to where I could pay for it in cash out of pocket, and I got the card. All right, so it is a zero balance on both of these cards, and the credit limit is $25,000. All right, and so in February, I want to make sure that I make a purchase on for my medication so I can have some activity. Once my medication is paid off at the end of the month, I won't have to make another purchase on that for another 6 months. Now, these four other credit cards, Capital One, I have two Capital One credit cards, MasterCards, and Visas. These are credit cards that currently have a balance that I'm actively paying off. In 2019, 20, I had become 100% debt free with my credit cards and only had my student loans left. But I was laid off for 7 months and had to unfortunately start relying on credit cards again because I had ran through my emergency fund. So these four cards that have currently have a balance, I don't have to put any activity on there because there is already activity on the card. And once these are paid off to a zero balance, I am going to close three of them. Right. So this is how I decide which credit cards I will be closing. If there's any credit cards with an annual fee that I'm not using, I want to make sure that I close that out because I'm wasting money every year on an annual fee. There are two or three things that I look at, right? The age of the credit, because that is going to affect my credit score and contribute to my credit history. I am okay with my credit score dropping a few points because, like I said, my goal is to reduce how many credit cards I have. So if it drops a few points because my don't laugh at me when I say these cards because again, this is when I couldn't really get approved for anything and I was just trying to improve my credit. So I have Victoria's Secret and a JCPenney's card. Those are both at a zero balance. Have had those for 9 to 10 years, so it is contributing in a positive manner to my credit score with the credit history. But I'm okay with my credit score dropping a few points because I just don't want the cards anymore, right? So it is contributing to my overall credit utilization, but not that much anymore because these credit cards, at one point, I had $10,000 credit limits on them. Now it's $500 and $524. So the first credit card that I will be closing, because after looking at my credit cards and figuring out which ones just no longer serve a purpose, it's going to be my Victoria's Secret credit card. As I stated, it is a $500 credit limit and it's at a zero balance. Okay. So this has been paid off, and then it gives you the option to, for the length of credit, and then the close date when it's closed, which I will put in once it's closed. And my JCPenney credit card, which has a zero balance and $524 for a current credit limit, which is so random, right? But that is also paid off, and I will be closing these two credit cards. Now, if you're going through the same process of closing some credit cards or just managing your credit card activity and decide to close a few cards, there are a few things that you do want to look at. Make sure that you redeem any credit card rewards or perks, because once the credit card is closed, you will no longer have access to that. I don't use credit cards for rewards. Like, one of my best friends is so big on spending on her credit card so she could get rewards, and she does get a lot of rewards. It's just not something that works for me. But if we go out to eat and there's a large bill amount she wants to put on her credit, we send her cash if we're booking hotels, things like that. She does get rewards from it. It's just not something that I want to do, right? So make sure that you look at it. If you're closing the credit card that you've had for the longest and maybe only have some other credit cards for a year or two, you might want to wait to close those out because your credit score will drop more due to the credit age and credit history, right? So make sure when you're doing this that you really strategize and see what works best for your situation. I have already went through and kind of strategized what works best for me. The last thing that I do, and it will kind of help balance out if my credit score does drop a few points from closing these two cards, which I don't think they will, but I also see which credit cards I'm going to request a credit limit increase on. My highest credit card is the one Home Depot for 30,000 and the Care Credit for 25,000. This is what I kind of do annually, right? So I look at my active cards and request credit limit increases. For a higher limit, it helps improve my credit score, my utilization ratio, which is a big factor in your credit reporting. But before I request an increase, I make sure I have a good payment history, because if you do not have, you know, a good payment history or your cards may be late, you will get denied. Also, you want to make sure call your credit card company and see if they do a hard pull or a soft pull when you request a credit limit increase. I've been doing this for a while, so I already know which credit cards do a hard or soft pull. The only one that does a hard pull for me is going to be my Home Depot card. So I did not request a credit limit increase last year because the year before I requested it and still had that inquiry on my report. So that is falls off this month. So when I request an increase, I will still only have that one inquiry for the credit limit increase, right? Sometimes credit card companies do just automatically do like a credit limit increase after reviewing your account, but some of them don't do it on an annual basis. So for the ones that don't, I make sure that I increase my credit, right? So after I have looked at which credit cards I want to increase, I call and see if they do a hard or soft pull. I also want to make sure that I have all my income information ready because they will ask what your current income is, if you're employed, unemployed, how much you pay for rent or mortgage, and things like that. The two credit cards that I'm going to focus on to increase this year is going to be my Home Depot card. Okay, so it's currently at 30,000 is my credit limit, and I'm going to try to get it to 35,000. I will put the new limit once I get approved or denied. You could put the new limit right here. It gives you the option if it's a hard or soft pull. I know that this is a hard pull, and then once it's approved, I will just check it off right here and put in the new limit. The same thing for my Care Credit. So I am going to request, it's my current balance is 25,000. I'm going to try to request an increase for 5,000 so I can get it up to 30,000, and they do a soft pull. And once I get approved, I will check that off, put in the new limit, and then put in the date that I requested the limit. But I will be doing that today. Another strategy that I have for my credit cards is when my credit cards are paid off at zero, I will be closing a few more. I'm going to keep my Capital One because it has a credit limit of $15,000. And when you try to purchase a home or make big purchases, it looks really good for the lenders or loan companies that you have high balances, you have a zero or high credit limits, you have a zero balance, no late payments, so you look more trustworthy. That's why I'm keeping this higher credit card limits, as well as I know that I'm going to need my Capital One because I can't buy anything on my Home Depot or credit card for like my daily expenses, which I'm not looking to buy for daily expenses. But if I'm traveling or if I am, need to do rent a rental car or anything like that, you need a major credit card. So I want to make sure that I keep at least one major credit card, and I'm going to, once at a zero balance, I'm going to do the same thing for that one with my credit limit increase, right? So, but once it's at a zero balance, my strategy for that is to put one of my subscriptions or my cell phone bill on this credit card so it has activity, and then I would just do a automatic draft payment to pay off the balance every month. But I want to make sure that it's constantly getting that activity. All right, and the last thing that I do is plan for the year ahead, right? So finally, I review my spending habits, my goals for the upcoming year. If I know I have any big purchases that I plan to purchase on cards, which I do not have any purchases that I need to purchase on any cards this year because I am not using my credit cards. And but if you are still a credit card user, you can see any sign up bonuses that you've been eyeing. You can make a note to apply when they do have these different perks so you could at least get some benefits for signing up for the credit card. That's not my situation. I will not be doing that. But this is what I do at the top of every year and then in the middle of every year as well. So I will come back to my credit card activity in June or July and put the purchases that I made here, and then won't have to come back to this until January of 2026. But this is how I manage my credit cards. This is how I've been able to improve my credit score and maximize my credit cards, not so much when it comes to reward categories, but just with improving my credit, making sure that I'm trustworthy, that I have high credit limits. But I do this every year. Let me know in the comments what you all do to manage your credit cards, the activity. If you all are still using credit cards on your debt-free journey, I know some of like live by the credit card rewards, and it works for a lot of people, but it just doesn't work for me. I want to be like 100% cash spender. I don't want to have to rely or use credit cards or even want to use credit cards for anything. So if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Send this video to whoever you think it might be useful. And I will see you on my next video. Thank you so much for spending some time with me on this Sunday. Bye.
Budgets of freedom. That's how we do, that's how we do. Budgets of freedom. That's how we do, that's how we do. Budget of freedom.